Welcome to the 2033rd regular meeting of Livonia City Council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Honorable Brandon McCullough. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Monday, February 9th, 2026. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember McCullough.
Here.
Councilmember McDonald. Here. Councilmember Persicone.
Here.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Here.
Vice President Brockway.
Here.
President Reed.
Here. We have 6 members present. Councilwoman Tashnik is at home recovering from major surgery. We wish her well, and we look forward to having her back soon. At this time, I will entertain a motion for the minutes from the regular meeting of the City Council held on January 14th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion from Budzinski, support from McCullough. Do I have any comments from council? Mr. Fisher?
So you may note in your attorney notes, there are 2 corrections that were needed to the minutes that were submitted after the minutes were revised on Friday. So one pertains to just the length of the duration of a contract that was presented last time, and then the other is just correcting the committee designation for the inquiry into data centers. So those were listed incorrectly on the minutes as you received them, but as your attorney notes note the corrections that need to be made. So we just need a motion for that for the corrections.
I'll make a motion for the corrections as noted by law.
Okay. Motion by Budzinski, support by McConnell. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Jim Bigga, 35354 Lancashire. Regarding the meeting minutes where Councilmember Budzinski had the motion about the restricting gas stations, I had also added gas stations and auto repair shops, and her motion only says gas station. It only says, I only said gas stations. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, Michael Rudell, 28911 Morlock Street. I've lived in Livonia for 14 years.
Is this about the minutes?
No.
We're still working on the minutes from.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll let you know when it's time for audience communication.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else from the audience about the minutes? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. And the minutes are approved 6-0. Before we get to audience communication, Mr. Fisher, are you able to provide us with an update in regards to LPD and their current policy related to immigrant issues?
Sure. Thank you, Council President. As I'm sure you're aware, Council received a letter this afternoon from the Mayor's office just detailing some of the things that have been going on with the administration and with the police department since Friday. We want to convey that the administration really understands the gravity and seriousness of these issues and their effect on the community, and that LPD has been very active in reviewing these policies and working on amending the policies to sort of better reflect sort of the times that we're living in, to be frank. And we have a very serious understanding about the gravity of what's going on in our country and what's going on locally. And we want to ensure that people in this community understand that our police department and our administration place the utmost priority on making sure that people feel secure in their community, and that community safety extends to everyone. So we are asking for a little bit more time in terms of being able to rectify these policies, to make sure that they're consistent with the law, to make sure that they're consistent with the broader practice as it's being applied in other localities, but that LPD and that the administration have reached out to several outside sources for expertise on how we can make improvements here where they're required and how we can update our policies as they pertain to ICE and immigration enforcement in our community. So happy to answer any questions you might have on that front, but that's where we are as of this evening.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to audience communication. The council has set aside 30 minutes for audience communication for items not on the agenda. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Budzinski will be taking the time on our clock. Just a little FYI, we do not respond to any comments or questions as you ask them. Council may respond when it is council's time to speak afterwards. And we do have an additional audience communication at the end of our agenda, so if you don't get a chance to get up here within the 30 minutes, there is another opportunity to speak, but you can only speak at one or the other, not at both. So please state your name and address for the record, and we will get started.
Okay. Hi, Mike Rudell, 28911 Morlock Street. I have lived in Livonia for 14 years. There have been times that I have been very proud of and felt cheered on by my community, but there have also been times that I have been upset, embarrassed, and ashamed of my community. The city leaders and Livonia Police have a unique opportunity to be on the right side of history. At this time, I'm asking the police to stop contacting ICE and Border Patrol when they pull vehicles over and interact with people in Livonia. Our federal government is terrorizing our local communities, and Livonia has a choice to not cooperate and turn in peaceful residents and members of our community. Under current leadership, ICE has become dangerous and does not follow the law. During this difficult and challenging era of our country's history, it is imperative that Livonia stops cooperating with inept and morally bankrupt federal agencies. This is not a partisan issue. It's a human rights issue. This is about safety and protecting our community members from discrimination, harassment, imprisonment, violence, and in some cases, have we seen death. Once again, I'm asking the city administration and Livonia Police Department to end cooperation with ICE today. Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please. Let's try to keep our applause to a minimum.
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Fanning. I'm not a resident of the great city of Livonia, but I am a neighbour resident of Plymouth, and I've been a resident of Wayne County for 30 years. I'm here tonight to pay my respects to you as leaders of the community in the county. To introduce myself, I am running for Wayne County Probate Judge this year. It's important that I reach out to all of the cities, and I would like to follow up after the meeting individually with you. 2 issues I think would be very important to Livonia and its residents. One is that I don't think the courts reach out to communities enough. It's a very grueling prospect to go through probate court. It's not user-friendly. Courts need to liaise with counties, cities like yourselves more. You have a wonderful senior center. Judges and staff should be coming out to explain processes, to make it easier, to facilitate how to bring a proceeding in probate court. It's very scary to go through the courts. I want to stop making it scary and make it as a servant for the people. And particularly, you have a wonderful senior community, and the issue of guardianships and conservatorships and how people's property is being taken is really ripe for reform, and I want to be able to be a servant to the people. The second issue is there is a mental health crisis, and because we don't have enough supports, I believe 1 in 3 call-outs for Livonia emergency services, whether it's police or fire, are related to mental health issues. So I think the probate court should be integral in liaising with communities to provide early intervention, to stop recidivism, to help facilitate ways to help the police and the fire department help with mental health crises in a way that is not punitive but is facilitating the support people need. So the only reason I'm here is to pay my respects. I appreciate all of you, and to introduce myself, and thank you for hearing for me.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah. Steve King, Coventry Gardens. Thanks. Can you restart the clock? The big one. The big one. Yeah, thank you.
Right?
No.
No, sorry, guys.
And speaking of which, thank you for the clock. Great job. We went, I don't know, for some reason, we just couldn't find a clock for like a year. So beautiful. We begin every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, ending with the words liberty and justice for all. It is reasonable to ask whether the administration's actions consistently reflect that promise. At the local level, liberty means transparency, and justice means fair and equal treatment of residents, applied consistently, openly, and without favoritism. If those words are meant to guide us, then they should be evident in how the city is administered and how decisions are carried out every day. And moving on, about a year ago, the administration brought forward an individual, and he was hired under the auspice that he'd be getting grants and doing other things. That person left the city, and quite honestly, my life was not affected in any way. I didn't know he left until his replacement showed up at a council meeting. And we were told grants. This is a position that encumbers the budget over $100,000. We've not received one penny in grants through that individual's efforts. The city of Farmington Hills, they just received an $850,000 grant for improved parks, recreation facilities, and pedestrian safety. So, moving forward, instead of coming up with these fancy titles like government affairs and whatever, how about we take that individual and turn them into a full-time grant writer? And the money they bring back to the city would more than pay for their salary. Thank you very much.
Name and address for the record, please.
Betsy Calhoun, Kimberly Oaks, Granada Street. I'm glad the city is looking at the ICE issue, but it is quite concerning that one of our state representatives struggled to get information from the city and was finally at first told that LPD doesn't work with ICE. Then she was told that they do indeed call Border Patrol during traffic stops. We have a good police department here in Livonia. They know that the actions of untrained, enraged goons does not reflect well on them or help them do their jobs. Their job is to keep Livonians safe. We don't need rogue federal agents here to keep the peace. Until ICE is reformed into a responsible agency without masks, no shooting peaceful people out of anger, they have no place in a civilized, empathetic community such as Livonia. Of course, we all want violent criminals off our street, whether they're citizens or not. Our regular police don't find it necessary to storm schools and homes looking for rapists and bank robbers. If someone has simply overstayed their visa or something, it certainly isn't the job of LPD to hand them over to an abusive agency. I really don't understand how some of the public are stuck on the term illegal. It's as if they're not seeing the reliable news sources that so many people are being taken when they have approved asylum cases open. They are essentially here legally and have been following all the rules. They go to courthouses, they're not hiding. Some asylum seekers face certain death if they're not sent back. Does that not move anyone? That's not a society I want to live in. And interestingly, what's never spoken of is why the undocumented folks are here. Most of them because they have employment. So why on earth aren't these large employers being fined? If that was the case, workers wouldn't keep streaming over our borders. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you for the applause. I haven't said anything yet, though. But hi, my name is Mike Gladwick, and I live in Livonia. I've been living here off and on for about 40 years. And I just want to, short and sweet, give my impression of the Livonia Police Department working with ICE. I think the Livonia Police Department is doing an improving job of finding a way to work within everybody's rights in this country and rule of the law. ICE does not do that. ICE does not follow the Constitution. They think the Constitution or our constitutional rights are something for them to trample on, and they don't get much support in Washington because the people that are in power there, they think that what they're doing is great. And I think if we want to have a community that's welcoming to everybody, I got to temper my words here. We got to no longer have ICE. And they don't belong in Livonia. ICE doesn't belong in Livonia. That's what I say. Thank you.
Let's stop. Please stop applauding between because we only have 30 minutes for audience communication right now. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Ellis Engdahl, and I'd rather not give my address. City Council members and Livonia citizens, I'm here this evening to speak, as others have, about the way the Livonia Police Department interacts with U.S. Customs and Border Protection. According to Representative Lori Pohutsky, Mayor Brosnan has confirmed that LPD has a standing policy of calling Border Patrol during traffic stops when someone does not have ID. However, it's not a federal offense to not carry ID, and I'll be honest, I would be surprised if CPB is called every time someone is stopped and cannot provide ID. If that is indeed the case, I have some questions. Per the PACT website, Livonia issued 14,000 citations during 2025. How many of those resulted from traffic stops, and how many of those stopped failed to provide ID? In how many of those cases was CPB called, and if that metric is not 100%, how are those determinations made? What criteria were utilized? None of this information is on the PACT website, nor is the LPD policy to call Border Patrol listed anywhere on the LPD's public policies and procedures page. But it is worth noting that LPD policy 401, biased influence policing, includes these lines. It is the policy of this department to provide law enforcement services and to enforce the law equally, fairly, objectively, and without discrimination toward any individual or group. Biased influence policing is strictly prohibited. Given those words, I would strongly encourage all of you to push for full LPD transparency about how often, why, and when CPB is called into Livonia. At a time when encounters with CPB and ICE are escalating across the country, sometimes with fatal results, I and many more of your constituents would like to understand how Livonia is interacting with these agencies, ensuring we are not profiling anyone within Livonia city limits and are prioritizing transparency in all LPD activity. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is William Hurley, 16115 Penn Drive, Livonia, Michigan, 48154. I live in Quakertown, and I'm also an attorney. I believe the council has failed us as citizens regarding this Buca car wash. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about it, as am I. The council voted on this Buca car wash on December 17th without notice to any citizens. I would have been there. And it did so because Ms. Tashnik and several others sent a letter which prima facie in itself is a violation of the Open Meetings Act, to Council President to put it on the agenda. No notice was given to any citizens, again. Council will know that when a quorum gets together outside of a public meeting, it is a violation of the Public Meetings Act. It's very straightforward. Their deliberation and their decision-making, these four, constitute a quorum and violate the act. Notice and transparency are incredibly important in this time. We live in an age where public trust is eroding. No one trusts their officials. The local government should be your neighbors that you can trust. Transparency is key. I abhor litigation. I'm a self-loathing lawyer. But if you guys don't fix this tonight, I will be filing a complaint regarding the Buca property, requesting a temporary injunction, and that's just going to cost us all money. I'm a taxpayer too. So what I'm asking you to do tonight, any one of you can motion for this, according to the parliamentary rules, Robert's Rules of Order, put a rescission vote on the agenda for your next meeting. That would make any argument that I'm going to make moot. It'd put this out in the open again. Allow citizens be heard. Any one of you can motion for a rescission vote. Put it on the agenda for next time so that my neighbors can come out here. Don't get blindsided. I hesitate to use the word civil servant anymore. I don't think anybody is. But you guys have a duty to do something right. Do your duty.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Lori Shook. I live in Livonia for 30-some years. I don't even know how long it's been. And sorry I have to follow a lawyer because I'm not as well spoken, and my notes are all scribbled. But I'm really disappointed to hear that the Livonia Police Department are coordinating with Border Patrol and ICE. We don't want them in our community, and we don't want them to terrorize people that are driving through our community. We all know what took place in Fraser in early December. If you don't, Michigan NPR has an article, and it's videoed. And the video is disgusting. There's quotes. I won't name the officers, but ex-officer, oh, I got one last week. That officer, oh, I hadn't gotten one yet. That's cruelty at the highest. And what happened to those people? The mother and the young son. They were taken. I think they were sent to Texas for about a month. The poor son lost a month of school. Quote from the Border Patrol agent said, well, they have an asylum appointment in February. I really didn't want them, but my supervisor said I had to do it. That's just wrong. And so we think, well, that's not our Border Patrol, that's not our ICE people. Well, what about Livino? What he said on CNN a couple days ago. These Border Patrols that murdered the man, Alex, Kind, NPR, our VA ICU nurse, gave the veteran his final salute, which broke my heart, and the veteran's son has a lovely thing to say about this person. And he's not the only one that's been killed or injured by these people that are called ICE with crazy uniforms, masks, and we don't know who they are. So Bavino said these agents are going to be taken out of the streets of Minneapolis, but they will still be part of, they will still be Border Patrol agents. And the agents will be taken off the streets in Minneapolis, but they will still take part in operations in other cities. That terrorizes me. And I heard that the mayor was contacted and she was reluctant to change this policy. So if the policy doesn't change, if the cruelty starts, what we're going to do is follow the police department every time I see a traffic stop. We have to have this video evidence now. It's crazy that we have to do this. But we'll stop and we'll record in case it happens to be one that they're calling Custom Border Patrol over, to see if that happens to be the person that ICE comes and takes away, so we know who they are and where they may be, so we can hopefully get them back. I'm disappointed. It's only going to cause trauma.
Thank you, ma'am. That's time. Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Debbie Pennell, Caliburn Manor Sub, Livonia. I'm here today to talk about safety.
Can you move the mic just like a little closer?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now? I'm here to talk about safety and ICE and how we can protect our neighbors, especially our black and brown neighbors and our and people of color. I want to know how our city is going to keep us safe. Back in the summer, when the city council candidates spoke, they spoke of safety, wanting to keep our city safe. So I'm here to follow up on that and say, what are we going to do to keep our citizens and our residents of Livonia safe? ICE is already here. It's in surrounding cities, and I heard of ICE in 96 and Inkster this morning. ICE is reckless, dangerous, and out of control. They are not safe. They do not keep people. They do not keep people safe. I do not support ICE being in our city. They do not represent safety. I know several city council members and elected officials have spoken out, and I applaud them. Our own mayor has been quiet. What action plan is the city going to take? These are not normal times and should not be treated as such. I believe in justice, due process, fairness, and human dignity. Together, we are better and stronger. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
James Hooper, Livonia. I wanted the past couple of meetings to come here and express to you congratulations again on your elections. That is heartfelt. As being someone who was your opponent politically, if you will, the four that won, I look at it more like a board game, right? I mean, we sat down like a family, and we played a board game like Risk or Monopoly, and you guys won, and I didn't. So no hard feelings there. I do want to pivot. The last couple meetings I couldn't come because it was a little cold, a little icy out there. And seeing that's a theme for tonight, I'm going to segue in with that. Number one, your oath of office. I was here. I had the pleasure of being here as a guest of one of the city council members for the inaugural ceremony. During that time, you take an oath, and it's quoted, "I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the city council member to the best of my abilities." You therefore have taken an oath to the federal government and the laws that are under the banner of the Constitution. This city must and it will follow federal law, and if you don't, we'll come under the wrath of the federal government. So I want to express through the chair to the law department and to our esteemed mayor that we need to follow federal law. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say words that are probably not going to get me clapping in this audience, but I would like to suggest as a path forward that the mayor needs to be clear in what these policies are and what they aren't. I'm very pleased that I heard our lawyer speak to this. My suggestion would be that we honor federal detainers and turn over suspected illegal aliens to ICE or CBP. I believe that this is the safest course for action for our community and for those who may be potentially put into the custody because of immigration status. LPD is highly accredited and a professional agency. I believe that any individual in this situation should be handed over at the police station. Therefore, Livonia would have a record of who has been turned over. This will mitigate any chances of ICE coming into the community, such as they had to do in Minneapolis and in other counties, and have these strong arm tactics. So
It's his time to talk. And it's done. Sorry.
I appreciate your time very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Renee Weiss Stansel. I live in the area of 48.
Excuse me. Excuse me. That is enough. I'm not stopping my clock. Go ahead.
Carrie, can you reset, please? Renee Weiss Stansel. I live in the 48154 area of Livonia. As we all know, Livonia has a history of not being the most welcoming city. Over the past few years, many of us in this room, including many of you on council, have tried to change that reputation, and I believe that we've made steps to make that happen. Years ago, we had a George Floyd rally. We've had 3 Pride events in Livonia. We've had No Kings protests where thousands of people were in attendance, clearly voicing that we want things to change and we want Livonia to not be the Livonia of old with a reputation where many people did not feel welcomed or safe. Working with Border Patrol and ICE puts us right back. And maybe there are people in Livonia that want us to go back, but there are more people that don't, given the way that people have voted in Livonia over the past few elections, show that people want us to be an inclusive community where people feel safe to drive, to go to events, to be with their families, without the worry that we may have these terrible agencies coming in terrorizing people. It doesn't make anyone feel safe if there's people, like we're seeing things happening in Minnesota, and people may say, oh, that would never happen in Livonia. People in Minnesota thought that too. So I would like Livonia to be proactive and not reactive with these policies, to change them so that we can move forward with making people feel safe and welcome in the city of Livonia, and not afraid to just drive down the street without worry that these people might come in and hurt people who may be immigrants or just citizens recording things. Livonia is better than that, and I hope that the policies going forward represent that. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Deb Christensen, resident of Livonia, also a business owner. Congratulations. I haven't been here for a while, so congratulations to all of you that are new. Okay, so it's heavy right now. Our country's in a very heavy spot emotionally. I don't want ICE here. It's plain and simple. And I hope that the council will do what they can do within their powers to encourage our police department and our mayor to make sure that that's the case, that they don't come here. And I've been doing a lot of thinking and knowing that 2 people were murdered, 2 white people. And so so here's the thing. We live in a predominantly white community. We are like somebody just mentioned, we have a history of being a sundown town. And I, as a white woman, am now evaluating my risk. And I have to apologize to all of my BIPOC brothers and sisters that they've had to do this for forever. And I don't want our community to be like that. I don't. And so I urge you to make sure that that doesn't happen. And on that same vein, when the hell are you going to update our NDO? Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you so much. So first of all, some good news is we got $850,000.
Name and address for the record, please. I apologize.
I'm sorry, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. We got $850,000 in the federal budget for Livonia for a bike walk project, which I have to talk to the mayor about in regards, because I know it was tied to probably the ballot, the millage. Thank you all. I love my residents. Thank you. The millage, and so we just have to talk. But the good news is it cleared out of the House and it's in the Senate, and there's a good chance that we'll get the $850,000. But I want to make sure that we can utilize it for other projects if we can. I'm here, of course, I'm a child of immigrants. So I'm not just here as your congresswoman, but I'm here to tell you the frustration that I have, the lack of sympathy that I got from city government here. I know that it's really hard and is challenging, and there's various people that want to interpret the law. But you understand that we're not in 1989, right? Implementing a policy from 1989 to now in 2026, especially because as a former immigration attorney, the complications with various visas and everything. When I have a mayor tell me, well, we got to ensure they're citizens. Really? Because you don't have to be lawfully in our country to be a citizen. You could be here on a student visa. You can be here on an asylee seeker, which one of them was. So for us to be able to bring in a government agency, and you guys know this, that is not acting within the law themselves. And so I just want to read from the letter that on January 23rd, I sent it to some of the council members from ACLU of Michigan. I think it's really important. This is a nonpartisan organization. People can say whatever they want, but they protect every single American. They said they wanted to highlight a few permanent sections within the guide that was sent to the Livonia. First, they explained in section 3 of 5, within the legal requirement to cooperate for other enforcement. Relevant here is that Livonia Police Department has no legal obligation to formally contact immigration authorities if they suspect the individual that they encounter is not lawfully present in the United States. Let me tell you also, that enhances profiling. You're pulling somebody aside, give them the traffic ticket, have them go to court, but do not racially profile. When I said to the mayor and others, what was the traffic stop for? No one here has been able to tell me what the traffic stop for. Was it because there was 3 Mexicans in a car? 3 brown people in a car? This is dangerous because I said to her, so my mother who wears a hijab, who was an accent, who's a beautiful, 50 years in this country, she is a beautiful human being. She would feed all of you. And she'd be so happy to do it. That she has to carry her passport if she drives through Livonia. Is that what I'm being told? And so it's really important. Members of the legislature and myself, Corinne Lori Pahutsky, Stephanie Young, Dana Pletke, all of us have signed a letter expressing the concern. I ask you all to do your due diligence. And lastly, this is not on the police chief or the mayor. This is on you all. You can prevent racial profiling, and you can prevent us violating laws.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that is enough. Now we only have time. This is our last. I apologize to everyone that's standing. This will be our last one for now. We have more audience communication at the end. It has been 28 minutes. So, Mr. Martin, name and address for the record, and we will do the rest of audience communication later. Go ahead.
Christopher Martin, the great state of Michigan. I don't know if we're saving the best for last, folks, but I'm having to be the last one out here. it's nice to see the clock finally come back. I'd asked for that 3 times, and then I just finally gave up. So it's good to see it back. I thought D.B. Cooper had hijacked that thing years ago. But one thing I want to talk about, and it was on the news, one of the channels on TV, and it was a accident that had taken place on 5 Mile, and Livonia Towing is has a contract with the city. So they came out and they towed that vehicle because a gentleman couldn't get it off the street quick enough. And it was determined that it might block traffic and cause an accident or something. So Livonia Towing came out and took the thing away. And so it was $450. And so after this individual's mom had contacted the news, then miraculously it went down to $145 and no storage fee. Now, years ago, Ross Towing had attempted to come into the city, and they did over on Inkster Road for a brief period of time because a competitive bidder is really needed against Livonia Towing. And the reason I'm saying that is if you have competitive bids, usually it brings the price down. When you have a monopoly, it's kind of like a dictatorship. You do whatever you want. So that woman, by contacting the news media, actually showed, I feel, what really happens. And it's kind of one of those dark secrets that we just have that towing company, and that when the police call, that's your one and only option unless you can round up enough people, to help you push your car off the street and get it out of traffic. So I'd like to see what we can do about getting another competitor to come into the city, reach out to somebody. And I'm sure there's other towing companies that would like to put a competitive bid in on any accidents that happen, any time that the car is deemed to be impeding traffic somehow, and that Livonia Towing has called, that we actually have some competition, and maybe that'll get these prices down. But the only way that price went down was when this woman called the news media. That was it. Thanks.
Thank you. We're done for audience communication for now. Thank you. Okay, so now we will move on to council announcements. I would like to say we have new data for item number 4. And I'm going to jump over to Councilwoman McDonald, and she's going to announce our December retirees.
Thank you. I would like to announce and congratulate Melinda Williams. She was a custodian for the city of Livonia for 12 years and 1 month. Congratulations and welcome to the club.
Anything else from you, Councilwoman McDonald? You can go ahead if you have anything.
Okay, sure, I'd love to. Have a few things that I would like to address. That I've got some phone calls from a citizen who had neighbors, 3 neighbors actually, that had snow services in the middle of the night from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. And please, people, please make sure that you're kind to your neighbors and to think about it when your contractors come out to do snow removal. It's against ordinance, shouldn't be done. But the thing that needs to be done if you have a problem like that is to call the police non-emergency number, and hopefully they will be able to address. The citizen, unfortunately, wasn't able to have any resolve with that, so I asked this person to reach out to me if there's any more problems of that nature so we can kind of address it as a council. And the other thing I'd like to talk about are blighted residential properties. I would like to see, I've gotten an email earlier this week in reference, or last week anyway, in reference to that, and I think it's something that council needs to take a little bit more of a hold on. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from council? Okay, moving on. We have reports from the mayor and other city officials. We've received communication from the Department of Finance dated January 6, 2026, and this is in regards to forwarding the departmental purchases report for the month ending December 31st, 2025. We have received and filed. All right, we will now move on to our consent agenda. Items 1 through 3 on the consent agenda will be voted on as one item. These items were previously discussed at the study meeting that took place on January 14th, 2026, and determined to be non-controversial. Do I have a motion?
Motion for approval.
Support.
Motion by McCullough, support by McDonald. Do I have any comments from council? Anything from the audience? Name and address for the record, please.
Betsy Calhoun again, Kimberly Oaks. So I'd just like to make a sustainability suggestion. Now that we're talking about the potential reuse of the Alfred Noble Library building, it's worth mentioning that 5 or 6 years after, when the city was building the Sheldon Pool House, they cared enough they bothered to have that building echo the library building. They knew they had paid for a good architectural design, and they wanted a visually cohesive community asset, so that, the two parts of the public areas were tied together. And now we've often heard that it's cheaper to demo and start over again. But this story has cracks. If you notice, there have been business owners throughout the city who have taken a small commercial or medical office building and gutted it and remade it into a new purpose. Right now they're doing it behind the new scooters. I've also seen that elsewhere throughout the city. So if you think that these hardworking business owners in Livonia are paying more money to do that rather than to tear it down and start over, as is suggested, I think I have a bridge to sell you. Livonia is supposed to have a commitment to sustainability. We've had a silver level certification through the Michigan Green Communities Group since 2022 through the present. And wouldn't it be nice to bump that up to gold? This kind of award and recognition is something that attracts and maintains businesses and residents to the city. And this would be, trying out the Sheldon Pool building would be dipping our toe in the water of the reuse idea. Gut it, jackhammer the floor, see what can be done. And it would be it might be a step in the right direction. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Madam Clerk, I ask you to take the vote, please.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes.
Councilmember Persicone.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. And the consent agenda passes 6-0. All right, we will now move on to unfinished business. Item number 4. This is a request to waive the formal bidding process and authorization to purchase furniture. This comes from the Department of Parks and Rec, and this is for the Senior Wellness Center from budgeted funds.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'd be happy to offer an approving.
Support.
Okay. Motion by Mr. McCullough, support by Ms. Budzinski. Anything from council?
And I just have one clarification, if I may. We are, just letting the audience know, we are removing close to $11,000 due to some overages that we decided that could be cheaper, a different way of means of procurement. That is reflected in here, and I appreciate you guys for following that. Thank you.
Anything else from council? Anything from the audience?
Yes, Steve King, Coventry Gardens. Looking into this proposal, I appreciate your effort on this, Brandon. If you go on the website, it really 54 seconds.
We'll add another minute.
I'm going to not count your time, Mr. King. I'm going to speak aloud. As we all know, I'm not normally the parliamentarian, and we have a 3-minute button, but we don't have a 2-minute button, and I can't figure it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it. We're going to have it say 3 minutes.
Okay.
In these instances, you have 2 minutes,
Okay.
and if you would prefer me
I
to
appreciate
put it
that.
down to 1 minute, let me know. But
All right.
sorry,
Yeah.
my apologies.
I just
Okay.
want
Go
to point
ahead.
out, that's got a thermostat on it. It's 84 degrees in here. So, come on, we can do better. Let's lower the temperature. If you drill down into this order, love seat, $2,100 a piece. Bariatric chair, $1,200. This is along the line of $12,000 hot water heaters, and it's absurd. Every one of you has access to Google. Google any one of these things. These are 90% more expensive. It's being bought through one company, and it's easy to do that. Let's put the bid out. One company handles it all. But this is what you have to do. We are in real trouble budget-wise in this city. Now, we were 50,000 over for furniture. It's down to 39,000 now. Is this going to go into the pile of overages for the new senior wellness center? The $200,000 for the roof, the security lighting in the stairways, not ADA compatible. Is anybody keeping track? The fire suppression system that was screwed up had to be replaced. I think there has to be a running tab of exactly what went wrong, why it went wrong, and how much it costs. I think that is your job, so I hope you do your due diligence on this.
Did you want to add anything, Mr. Davis?
Not unless council has any questions to
Okay.
ask.
Mr. Martin, you have 2 minutes.
Christopher Martin, the great state of Michigan, and I feel much more comfortable at this particular podium over here. A number of, it must have been a year and a half ago, up on the second floor, the discussion was when this renovation began on the wellness, what's called the Wellness Center. I asked the question at that particular time, are we moving any furniture over when this place opens up from the old, let's call it the old location? And I cited, bringing over the pool table or anything, and nobody really gave me an answer. And the people at the time who were there was, on that particular committee, was young Mr. Donovic and Laura Toy. Laura Toy spent the vast majority of that particular meeting texting and giggling and laughing on her phone. Okay, she wasn't paying attention to what was going on. And now we're here talking about furniture, which is what I basically brought up a year and a half ago before this project was started. Had no answer from Ted Davis at that particular time, nor anyone else, okay? It was just glossed over. So also, the auctions that schools have for furniture, chairs and tables and stuff, they get next to nothing for those. And so the first phone call I would have made was over to the LPS to see if they wanted to get rid of anything over there, okay? And so anyway, like Steve had mentioned, there's somewhat of a budget crisis now. And I'd like to see some of that furniture repurposed if at all possible. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Persicone?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. Item number 4 passes.
Thank
6
you
to
very
0.
much.
All right, moving on to item number 5. This is a request to waive the formal bidding process and approve the 2026 asphalt road program by extending contract 25-A unit prices with Nagel Paving Company. This comes from engineering, and this is for contract 26-A in the amount of $3,806,939.15 from budgeted funds. Do I have a motion?
I'll offer an approving.
Support.
Okay, we have McCullough on the motion, Budzinski on the support. Anything from council?
Madam Chair?
Mr. McCullough?
Just with the audience that we have here, these are items that we did study in detail through the last study meeting. A lot of work goes into this, a lot of interaction with the public. So when we answer these quick questions about, approving fast on this note, this is when it gets to the regular. So just want to let you know we take these things serious. Thank you.
Anything else from council? Go ahead.
Thank you, President Reed. I've been pretty vocal all along that our bid process needs to be honed up considerably. And for me, I am not going to support this contract because it's a renewal. It's the 4th renewal that we've had for this. And, this bid back in '23. So, and the day that it did bid, I went back, I have an account through Mitten. I went through and looked at the history and I thought, how did this happen? It was just not concise. They issued an addenda on the same day of the bid opening. And, I just think that the city needs to go forward and really shore up how our process is. But with that said, I will not be supporting this tonight. I think we need to take a better look at how we do these processes. My background for 15 years of my career was doing municipal contracts and proposals for a large chemical company. And I did New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, all throughout the United States. And it was cut and dry. Everything was just cut and dry. And that's my history. That is my knowledge of this business. And, but anyway, that's what I look forward to having further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience? Name and address for the record, please. You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. The clock
Chris
will not
Lenore, Southeast Livonia, Beatrice Street. So I'm looking at the agenda, and we have on it right now three requests to waive formal bidding, right? I've sat at home and watched you guys waive formal bidding, okay? We have bid processes for a reason. Now I know money's tight, right? So everyone wants to get the best deal. You might not get it. Maybe you'll get a better deal, but you're not even giving other companies a chance, right? So like from a transparency point, this feels like we're just in real good, right? You don't give we'll say the mom and pop shop, right, a chance to come in and do something better. You don't give the union shops a chance to come in and offer something, right? I'll go back to a tree service one that I believe was in, maybe you guys approved at the last meeting, but that was one of the ones where there are complaints, right, about the service being given. Ted Davis might say that, they're doing a great job, but if the residents aren't saying they're doing a good job, who are we really going with, right? The residents are the ones footing the bill ultimately, right? So continuing to waive these formal bidding processes is just, it's not what you're supposed to be doing. It's supposed to go out to bid. $3 million? I mean, I'm not saying that that's not a fair price. I'm saying you didn't take bids. So I don't have anything to compare it to. I don't have apples to oranges, right? And you don't either if you didn't put it out to bid. You're just taking somebody's word for it. That's not how this works. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Michelle Mancini, Merriman Road. I had a question, and I don't know if it was answered. I'm sorry, I might have missed it. But the bid that you're continuing, is the per unit price the same as it was in 2023? So I'm going to upset some of my conservative friends in the room, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that because prices have gone up. If you've got a company that's doing good work for you and they're willing to hold a price from 3 years ago, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you coming up for this one? Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
A little hard getting up here. Denise Micah, Livonia. I spoke to this before, and I want to say it again, that when they write these contracts, they could always put an option on there for the following year, and it doesn't mean that it's an automatic that they would come before council before they would exercise that option, but the options would also have been evaluated as part of that competitive bid. And you can have an option for more than 1 year. So when we say waive the formal process, and I too have experience in purchasing, and just to say waiving the process, it doesn't really say why, other than we're getting a better deal. And some of this is great, but when you take the laws of average, sometimes it's not so great. So I think we have to be careful of our procurement practices here in Livonia. And just because it's budgeted funds doesn't mean we have to spend all that money. We can save some money and use it for something else. So let's be stewards of the taxpayer dollars. And thank you, Eileen, for standing up for it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Mr. McCullough?
Madam President, I appreciate it. I just wanted to and I appreciate the audience communication on procurement. One thing I just want to at least throw out there, because yes, when you see waive the formal bidding process, and I'm not defending that by no means. I'm one that works in the municipal sector, mittens out there, but certain ones, I think we got to get better at even with the titles. Because even, like, for instance, the first one, request to waive the formal bidding process and authorize. If you look at the packet, it is a cooperative purchasing agreement. Anybody that doesn't know what that is, that's leveraging the lowest prices that are currently out there. And a lot of people that have been regulars have heard from me time and time again. I will not discount. We do need to get better at procurement, and Councilwoman does bring up a good point. I will say for at least these expenditures that are coming up, as someone with a construction background, I can tell you that these are more so to the comment that was just raised of local companies holding their prices. And I can tell you that those unit prices are much cheaper. And if we were to go out to bid, trust me, because I want to go out to bid, I want competitive pricing, but we would probably go up 40% compared to the current standards. So in certain cases like that, I'd like to at least expunge a little bit more information on why we led to that decision. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else from council or the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald.
No.
Councilmember Persicconi.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
Vice President Brockway.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye. And that passes 5-1. Sorry, I had to think about how many people are here. Okay, moving on to item number 6, request to approve final cost information and to authorize additional appropriations and expenditures. This comes from our engineering division, and this is in regards to the 2025 sidewalk program contract 25-G.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Okay, motion by Budzinski, support by Brockway. Anything from council? Ms. Budzinski?
Yes, just to continue in the conversation of, again, we did have a lot of conversation about this at the study meeting. This is a renewal with a locally owned business that has provided good work, reliable work at cost for many years. This contract would be continuing with prices from 2023 as well, I believe. And I will also note that in this particular case, we do have similar but different bidding examples. Last March for the sidewalk program along Newburgh Road from 7 Mile to 8 Mile, that was an open bid process. 15 companies, put out their offers, and Rotundo was the lowest among those 15. So we do also have some recent examples of how competitive the Rotundo Construction Company is with the market prices and that smaller bid package. And I feel confident that this is an additional savings for the city of Livonia. Thank you.
Anything else from council? Anything from, Mr. Lear?
I just wanted to point out that this item was actually to finalize the costs on the 25 project. This isn't for the extension contract yet.
Thank you.
So we're just finalizing the numbers from the last year's project so we can set final assessments to homeowners that were on the program.
Got it. Anything else from council? Are you good?
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so number 5,
Number-
6.
We're on 6.
Is the finalization. Correct, okay. I'm good with that. Thank you.
Anything from the audience?
Shouldn't it have like the
Name and
amount?
address, please.
Oh, Steve King, Cover Street Gardens. Doesn't it usually show like a dollar amount on the agenda? Doesn't it usually show? It says sidewalk program contract, and then there's 183,000 or whatever it is. I mean, isn't that usually on the agenda? I'm just wondering. You can't answer. That's fine. I did years ago. I worked for DPW, and this is what I did. I did sidewalk, curb cuts, ramps. We did all of this in-house, and I think that's something you should look at instead of creating these positions with fancy titles like government affairs for $100,000. You should hire in-house a small contract concrete crew, and they should work year-round doing sidewalks. We would save a lot of money. I know Joe does a nice job. I've built 4 homes in my in my neighborhood, all corner lots, and I paid and did all of the sidewalks. So I saved the taxpayers a lot of money on that. But that is something we have to look at. We got to start doing more things ourselves in-house instead of using consultant fees and hiring everything out. Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Rhonda Snyder, 15500 Ingram, Livonia. I'm a walker, and so I know the sidewalks of Livonia, and all I can say is we have so many silly things that we stop. I'll give you one example. Alongside the library, there is a nice sidewalk that ends. And if you have a stroller or you're bringing somebody with a wheelchair, you're forced to go out into the street instead of them continuing the sidewalk, which is at the front of the library. Another thing with the wellness center or the senior center, there's no sidewalk that goes from 5 Mile up into the front door. Now, I have made it my goal to put a little path there with my dogs, because if I don't, I have to walk on the street or the driveway, and it's full of salt, and my dog's are upset. And when people are coming out of the senior citizen center, they're in a hurry. They're not looking for me. I can't tell you how many times I've been hit. And now, because of the senior center, I actually have to change my walk because they make a Michigan L and they never see me. And I've almost had, I'm like this. So we don't walk, we aren't being safe for pedestrians. If you go and look at Northville or Plymouth, they have those wide things. Well, it doesn't work here in Livonia.
Ma'am, that's time. I'm sorry. You have 2 minutes. Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Name and address for the record, please.
Greg Ralco, Golf Ridge Villa. Speaking of sidewalks, though, the one that they just built over there on Newburgh on the west side along Greenmead, it doesn't go to the corner to 8 Mile. It stops right where across the street from the entrance to Whispering Willows, and it dead ends into the street. There's no stoplight there. Okay, so I'd like to know what was the rationale for that. Was there a stoplight plan that we didn't know about? Was this in concert with what you guys were planning to do with sheets on that corner? But if you look at this, it makes an L right to the street, and it dead ends. And it has that ramp type at the end of it that goes right into Newburgh Road. And so you're inviting people to walk right into Newburgh Road because there's no stoplight there. And there's something in it behind the scenes that we just don't know the rest of the story. So we'd like to have the rest of the story on that one. Maybe at the next council meeting if you don't have the answer here today. But it dead ends into Newburgh, and there's no light there. So I don't know what you were planning to do there, but it's unsafe, and it invites a catastrophe for someone that's not paying attention.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Persicconi?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. And item number 6 passes 6-0. All right, moving on to item number 7, request to waive the formal bidding process and approve the 2026 sidewalk repair program by extending contract 25-G unit prices with Joe Rotundo Construction Corp. And request to authorize an appropriation and expenditure to Precision Concrete Cutting Incorporated. This comes from the engineering division. This is for contract 26-G.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Budzinski, support by Persiconi. Ms. Budzinski.
I won't repeat what I said prior, but I will just remind everyone that our agenda packets are available on Civic Clerk. We have letters to council that include pricing for the things that we're talking about here at this meeting, including the prior agenda item.
Anything else from council? Ms. McDonald.
Thank you, President Reed. I have a question. I'm sorry. What's your name again?
Dave. Lear.
Dave. The 10% administration fee that's built, how is that applied and what is that for?
That is for the record keeping inspections that we do in-house. Basically, it's to fund our people running and coordinating the program from beginning to end.
And who pays that?
That's part of the.
You're talking to the mic.
I'm sorry. That's part of the overall cost from the funds. So it's a percentage of each, either the homeowner or the city assessment that gets done.
So the citizens pay for that then?
Well, yes, all around, yes. So whether it comes billed directly to the citizen or through the taxes from the city portion.
Okay. All right, and this contract is only for 1 year, for 2026?
We're actually, this is for 26 and 27, but we are only approving the dollar amounts for the 26 project. We're setting the line items to be continued for the next 2 years. The size of the next year's program won't be known until we go out and do the sidewalk assessments and things throughout the summer, answer calls for trip points, things like that. So we can't set a number for the 27 program yet because we won't have that data until the end of the year. But we want to carry through the unit pricing for the next 2 years so that they're locked into that.
Okay, so if, I apologize for asking all these questions. So if we approve this as is, then we will not be able to take this out to bid for 2 years?
Well, the contractor would be on the hook for that. We could also, at next year, if you don't approve of the dollar amounts, it would be canceled at that point, and we would probably have to find a different way and go out for bids. But this is, like I say, the goal is to lock them into the lower price for the next 2 years.
Anything else? Go ahead.
I would like to offer an alternate position on this, is to make it a 1-year contract only for 2026. A motion to do that, please. Do I have any support?
Support.
Okay, motion by McDonald, support by Brockway. Go ahead. Would you like to expand on that?
Sure. Well, just, as stewards of our community, I really think it's important that we take on and actually follow a bid process and get a procurement process in place. I mean, this will be our 5th year on this contract. So if we go through 27, that'll be 6. And not quite sure, and I didn't go back to see how many years prior to this that we were doing proposals or contracts under Rotondo. Not to say that they're not doing great work, and I know they're good for our community, but we need to have a cut and dry process for bidding and proposals of this.
Okay, so first we're going to, thank you for that. First we're going to vote to make it a substitute motion.
Okay.
So is there anything from the audience on making it a substitute motion?
Not a substitute.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough?
No.
Councilmember McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Persicconi?
No.
Councilmember Budzinski?
No.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
No. Okay, the substitute motion fails. 4 to 2, 2 to 4?
The motion to substitute failed.
Fails, yes. Okay, so now we are back to the original motion, approving motion on item number 7. Is there anything else from council or the audience?
Madam President?
Yes.
If I may, I do want to highlight a couple of things for those in the audience with respect to this particular contract. These prices were from 2023. This Rotunda Construction Corporation was under budget by approximately $100,000 in 2020. They were most recently under budget by $100,000, by $18,000 in 2024, $43,000 in 2023, and $25,000 in 2022. So they came in at the lowest rate, and not only that, but then when they performed the work, we also didn't spend as much money as we were allotted to. So going out to bid at this point would serve no advantage to the city, and I just wanted those to be made aware since we've talked about this particular topic now, I believe this is the third time in this meeting, that in particular, this is why I'll be supporting this motion, and for those of you out there to understand a little bit more why this is a good deal for the city.
Name and address for the record, please.
John Pastor, City of Livonia. I agree with what you're saying. You understand one thing, in construction, costs don't go down. Materials are always going up. So if you can lock in prices just like you did with the asphalt company, another local company, another good company, and retaining their prices, that's what's good for the citizens of Livonia. Keeping that's what stewardship that you're supposed to be doing. Every time you put that out, when you have a monetary with products that go up every year, you're not going to get a lower price. It's only going to go up. So I appreciate that you guys do work not only with Rotunda, with Nagel Asphalt, which are all local companies as well. So the tax dollars are staying here locally to our local community and our local businesses and all that stuff. So I appreciate the job that you guys are doing.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald?
No.
Councilmember Persicconi?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
No.
President Reed?
Aye. So that passes 4-2. Moving on to item number 8, this is a request to refer the subject matter of conducting council meetings via Zoom to Committee of the Whole. This comes from Council Vice President Patrick Brockway, and it is to allow council meetings to be conducted in person in conjunction with virtual option. Go ahead.
Motion to approve?
Support.
Okay, motion by Budzinski, support by McDonald. Anything from council?
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's been expressed by many in Livonia that Livonia City Hall is not accessible to all residents. Zoom's been around for a number of years. It's used routinely by other municipalities without issue. I'm simply asking for a review of its feasibility for our city so that anyone who has trouble accessing the building in person, whom has business before the council, may be heard. I'd like to just go ahead and cite the 2022 Attorney General Dan Nessel's opinion that the American with Disability Act and Rehabilitation Act require state and local boards and commissions to provide reasonable accommodation, which could include the option to participate virtually for qualified individuals with disability who request accommodation in order to fully participate as a member of the general public. So I believe that the utilization of Zoom and for putting this to the committee at whole for that review would be in the best interest of Livonia's residents.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Persicconi?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye. Number 8 passes 6-0. All right, moving on to new business. Number 9, we have acceptance of donations. This comes from the Department of Parks and Rec, and it's in regard to cash and gifts from various contributors to be used for the purposes as designated by donors.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Okay, motion by Budzinski, support by McCullough. Anything from council? Go ahead.
I'll just briefly state, some of the examples. I won't list. You cannot see a full list of who donated and for what causes. A lot of them are ones you'd be aware of: the Turkey Trot, Nights of Lights, Holiday Parade, kid concerts. These are gifts and donations from local businesses, individuals, and service organizations.
Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Persicconi?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye, and number 9 passes 6-0. We will now move on to our second set of audience communication. Again, you have 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Budzinski will be taking time on our clock. We do not respond to each comment, but we might respond after during council comments. And if you already spoke earlier today during open audience communication, you cannot speak again. And please direct all comments towards me, the chair of the meeting. And please state your name and address for the record.
Jerry Karasinski, 19488 Bainbridge Avenue. I know this is not a popular opinion. I do want to express, though, that I have full support for Livonia Police Department, regardless of what decisions they make working with our federal law enforcement officers. Looking at the website that Border Patrol for the Detroit region publishes, there are very few actions that they take where people have to worry about illegal aliens or whatever, undocumented migrants, whatever label you'd like to use, are arrested and detained and deported. So just for that reason, I don't think that we're at a huge amount of risk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Matt Hanchin, Quakertown. I wanted to speak again on the Buca car wash situation. I want to once again fill in the blanks on Martha's attempt to file a new ordinance to restrict car washes after she just voted to approve the 18th car wash in the city. According to a review of the community data, this would make Livonia near or at the top of the per capita car washes of any other city in Metro Detroit. I'll start by reminding everyone that Martha's embarrassingly contradicting herself from her vote to approve the car wash at the December 17th council meeting. Before she voted, she clearly stated that she didn't have a specific passion for this car wash, then casted the fourth and deciding yes vote. Her yes vote made no sense. When confronted by this fact at the last council meeting, she tried to say that she was referring to all car washes in general. That's totally untrue. It's clear when she said this car wash, she meant the only car wash up for discussion, the Buca site. There's no confusion here. She was intentionally misleading everyone with her claim, and I invite everyone to look at the videotape. In the end, Quakertown gets the door slammed in its face. I also need to remind everyone of what she did at the study session on January 5th. Martha proposed a new ordinance to place limits on future car washes. Ironically, but maybe the better word is comically, the Buca site would have been denied per the terms of her proposed ordinance. The truth is that Martha wanted the car wash to be approved no matter what. She's a big part of the 4-member group that broke the Open Meetings Act to get them on the December 17th agenda, and then a couple weeks later tried to divorce herself from her yes vote by appearing tough on car washes. This would be funny if it weren't so insulting to the residents. Don't you think that we're paying attention? You voted for something that you said you weren't in favor for, and then you tried to hide your vote. Well, you have a chance to fix your contradiction and to demonstrate to the residents of Livonia that you can be trusted with your votes. You need to support any motion made to rescind the vote that approved the Buca car wash and then vote no when the new council takes the original motion up again. In fact, the Quakertown residents think you should actually be the council member to make the motion to rescind, particularly since you don't have a passion for the car washes. Thanks.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Cindy Fleming, Livonia. I just want to say that somebody who came up here earlier left their glasses behind. Okay. They're Betsy's. Most of you know me. I appreciate you taking time to listen to me tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my prior history so you know why I'm asking you this question. I used to be the site leader for Livonia Head Start during 9/11, after 9/11. Being in a federal program, I was asked to take part with the Wayne County, FEMA, and Department of Homeland Security. We went over and made a huge Wayne County emergency and disaster preparedness plan. And you know what? It is gone in the wind. And these practices are not followed anymore, including in our city. And the reason I know that is because on my street a couple weeks ago, we had a water main break. And I couldn't get information about the safety of the water for 4 days. Some of you on City Council know this because I reached out to you. That was the first thing. When I did get a hold of DPW, when they called me back on Tuesday, so the water main break occurred early on Friday. I called our emergency desk, which is the non-emergency number at PD, and they didn't even know there was a water main break, let alone if the water was safe to drink when it was restored. We have multiple people on my block with disabilities and with fragile health, and it was a concern. So my husband and I were buying bottled water and supplying that and bringing it to people who could not get out, including the home that they had to dig up the approach to their driveway. So it's a concern. I would like you to review our emergency preparedness plans and also the steps that the city takes. This has happened to me twice in regard to water safety. It's something that's very important, and we should be looking at it. There are steps that should be taken to ensure that citizens and businesses are alerted and that they know what's going on. The last thing I see, my time is clocking down. The Senior Wellness Center is being closed when schools close. We need to look at that being our new emergency preparedness center for cooling, heating, and feeding, because it has a commercial kitchen where people can be fed in an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Eric Fitzpatrick, Rosedale Gardens. I'm asking that the city review Livonia's outdoor lighting policy and become familiar with it. The council, the mayor, so on and so forth. I am also asking that they address the issues with Livonia that do not adhere to the policy. As you can see, there's highlighted issues here, and there's places cropping up, and direct violation. I would also like to see the policy amended for lighting intensity, which has gotten way out of control. And the reasons I'm asking these things are for the following. I would address the increasing policy of the lights popping up all over that are glaring, extremely bright, excessive, and create a trashy, ghetto-like appearance at night. Other problems include lighting nuisances for resident, safety issues, and environmental issues. A lot of this is due to the newer LED technology that is brighter with the same energy use, leading to excessive lighting abuse. Examples include gas stations, car washes. I promise, I know this is a bit hot topic, but I came up with this 25 years ago, and it was the same thing. Gas stations, car washes, fast food restaurants, convenience stores, and the street lights on Plymouth Road. These are examples in clear violation of Livonia's outdoor lighting policy. I am bringing this up to promote awareness of said problem, so it is contained, and Livonia's nighttime appearance does not start looking trashy and ghetto-like, which this problem has clearly advanced significantly in neighboring communities and some in Livonia. I would also like to bring up the awareness of Livonia's outdoor lighting policy and ask that everybody reviews it. We talked about that. Also, again, I want to see this thing ratified, amended, whatever it is, to address the problem with intensity. Even if the lights are shielded, as the policy dictates, they're so bright. I'm 3/4 of a mile from some of these installations, and it looks like you're by a maximum security prison or Chernobyl. Last week, I took the city council meeting minutes, and I read from the sky alone. I could read this. This is somewhere between ridiculous and insanity, and I feel it needs to be addressed. That's about it. I got time's up.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Francis Janice, Brookwood Estates. I want to talk to the council about trauma.
I'm standing in front of you today with regards to finding out that Livonia police are cooperating with ICE and DHS on undocumented immigrants and others who do not have proper identification. This weekend was insanity in seeing how ICE executed a nurse who cared about his fellow residents in Minnesota, just like a lot of us care about our fellow neighbors. This coming a short time after the killing of Renee Good is truly traumatizing. I am here to say we do not want ICE in our city, full stop. I would not be speaking tonight, but we need to do everything in our power to not allow LPD to help ICE create chaos and trauma in our community. I do not want my children, nor anyone's children, to see the devastation of another life lost due to the tactics of this ragtag military group. It does not matter what your voting base is. This is not the nation that I was born in and that my husband and indeed my mom and dad served in World War II. I am asking Council and Mayor Maureen Brosnan to order the police to not cooperate with ICE nor call them on any police stops. I am speaking for those who are too afraid to speak, who are too afraid to go outside and are not able to send their children to school. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record,
Hi,
please.
Chris Hench, 9812 Cranston. And I agree with all the speakers who have been against having ICE or the Border Patrol involved in our city. And I want to call on the council to make a resolution that that needs to stop. I think that will be powerful. And while I'm up here, Vice President Brockway, I want to thank you for your concern about accessibility. There's another accessibility issue that nobody's talking about, and that is language accessibility for the deaf, okay? I requested maybe about a year or so to the mayor, couldn't we have sign language interpreters at important city events such as this, or when there's things at the library open to the public? And this is what I was told. Oh, they can request them, but you have to request them, let's say 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Do you want to know when I decided to come to this meeting today? This afternoon, okay? If I was deaf, I would have no option to come to this meeting at all. It's not expensive, and it's a no-brainer. The city of Detroit, which is like a poor city, they have sign language interpreters. So if you're concerned about accessibility, I urge you to take a look at having sign language interpreters at important city events.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi there, State Representative Lori Pohutsky, 48152. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but the Congresswoman had to run out before she could bring up another significant portion of the letter she quoted from before, which is that there is no legal requirement for our city to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. On the other hand, voluntarily participating in immigration enforcement actually carries serious legal liabilities. That's relevant because the only reason that I was able to find out that we are, in fact, cooperating with Border Patrol is because 2 people have already sought legal counsel because of stops here in Livonia. So we should stop this because it's wrong and because it's un-American and it's dangerous. We pride ourselves on being kind and pushing that initiative across our city. This is not kind. This is not putting families first, which is the other thing that you see every time you drive into this city. If we are tearing apart some families, we are not being kind or putting families first. So if we are not going to end this practice because it's dangerous and un-American, then we need to end it because we're putting taxpayers on the line, because we are requiring our police department to go along with the president's unconstitutional abuses. So I have, the Congresswoman pointed out the letter that I know council members got too from all of your legislators. We have requested that the mayor's office examine this policy and change it. But you also all have the ability to do so too, and frankly a more important one, because policy changes based on an administration, be that a mayoral one or the police department, those can be changed with incoming and outgoing administrations. An ordinance that you all put forth carries a much stronger power. And you all have that power, and I am asking you all to use it. So thank you.
Name and address for the record, please. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a resident of Livonia. I moved here 5 years ago. Up to that point, I had lived in Detroit. I wasn't excited about my move. It was not by choice. We did not choose Livonia. Whole other story. However, here I am 5 years later, still living in Livonia. The first city council meeting I attended was around the non-discrimination ordinance, and it affirmed to me, that city council's response to that affirmed to me that Livonia was what I grew up hearing and believing it was. Lily White Livonia, a sundown town, all of the things I had learned about Livonia police and policing. After 5 years, I still don't feel safe here. People find that funny when they learn that I'm from Detroit. I feel safer in my city. So I'm here to speak about ICE, and I appreciate so many things that were said tonight. It makes me feel a little bit safer. The response to some of those comments, the things that people said. I attended a Livonia event last week, and I said to some people there, this is the most welcome I've felt in this space. And so I'll be really curious to see how the response continues from you and the mayor and Livonia Police around ICE. But I wanted to share a few things as you're trying to figure out your role in all this. Some things that you can do. Make a public statement and condemn the actions of the federal government. Not allow ICE, Border Patrol, UCSIS, DHS to use any city resources. Prohibit the same to use on city property. Urge and direct the Livonia Police Department to deny any assistance to the same. Urge and direct the police department to act to preserve the constitutional rights of Livonia residents. Adopt a mindset of what is in our power to do rather than saying, that's not my jurisdiction. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Mike Martin, 34190 Trillium. I would have had a hard time believing 10 years ago that I would have been at 8 protests and talking in front of this group of people right here. I haven't been a political person most of my life. I do want to say I appreciate at the protests that we've had in Livonia, both the community that came out as well as the police behavior on it. I thought it was very cathartic. It was invigorating. People were offering each other's help. The police were acting completely appropriately. And like most of the other people here, I think we want Livonia police for Livonia. We don't want to bring in troops. We don't want to bring in ICE, and we want to do whatever we can with it. We're living in exciting times right now, and one of the things that we can do that creates a lot of value is just bring things that are normal and known out and talk about them more often. For example, great work last year. Crime dropped by 19% in Livonia. That was a lot of good work. Southeast Michigan went down as well, the whole area. So if you see a perception or something out there saying that that crime's up or things are out of control, the data will simply show that that's not the case. The other thing, remember, Canada's our friend. We've all lived here for many years. We know Minnesotans, we know Canadians. The general reputation for them is that they're friendly, fairly laid-back people. So if they're ever put in a way to us where it doesn't appear like this, people in Michigan know pretty well, and we can communicate to others that that's not the case. I want to thank you for all your time. It's exciting times, but we can all engage, and I think Livonia is going to be part of what makes us get through this a little bit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Lauren Dukas Haller, Alexander Street, Livonia, Michigan. I'm here also to speak on anti-ICE in Livonia. Not even 24 hours after Lori, our rep, made us aware that the mayor will not instruct the police department to not abide by this policy. We witnessed the execution of Alex Peretti in broad daylight during a federal immigration operation in Minneapolis. This is not abstract. This is not a hypothetical. This is what an unchecked federal enforcement looks like in real time. Do we want Livonia Police Department to be a part of this? Across the country, communities are being destabilized, trust in law enforcement is being destroyed, and people are living in fear. Not because they committed crimes, but because their local leaders failed to draw a line. As a resident of Livonia, I care about my neighbors, regardless of immigration status. A community cannot function when people fear traffic stops or police encounters. That fear makes everyone less safe. I'm asking you guys to do as much as you can to really look into this and really encourage them not to enforce this policy. Sorry. With the federal immigration enforcement during this administration's ongoing overreach, because it is, and to revisit only lawful and ethical necessary when once this administration is out of power, or office, I should say. This is no longer a partisan issue either. It's a moral one. History does not excuse leaders who say they were just following policies. I want to remind you, as part of Livonia's PD mission statement, to serve all persons with professionalism, integrity, and accountability. Those are not slogans, they are obligations. There is nothing in that mission statement that says dependent on citizenship status. Livonia PD must choose protect our community or enable a federal overreach of power.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You were waiting longer. Name and address for the record, please.
Samantha Kleeman, Ellen Drive. I'm echo the sentiments of ICE tonight, and as Jenny that just spoke a little bit of other things in addition to just the issue of ICE and police, but Livonia being more proactive in this in the future, or the future being now. Washtenaw County just passed some new legislation where officers shall not be permitted to enter, remain in, or conduct civil immigration enforcement activities within any Washtenaw County owned, leased, or operated building, facility, or property, including parking areas, unless required by law pursuant to a valid judicial warrant or court order. And I would encourage and ask Livonia and the greater Wayne County to look into other measures like that in our area to keep us safe proactively instead of reactively. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. John Pastor, City of Livonia. Kayla Hamilton, Lincoln Riley. All these people and more that have been killed by illegal, undocumented citizens. That's what we're talking about here. You know what?
It is his time. Everyone gets 3 minutes. It's his time.
I'm very disheartened as a former state representative. We have a state rep and a congressperson that are sworn by the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of Michigan, that are standing here to say, don't follow the law. And that's all they're doing. We have to.
Enough. It is his time.
We have to, as citizens, when we're pulled over by a police officer, I don't know anybody that isn't afraid of being pulled over by a police officer, that we have to show our proper ID and documentation. And I'm sorry that if you're undocumented, if you're not here legally, you need to go through the process properly. We are a United States of immigrants. We all came here one way or another, but we came through legally. You know what? I didn't see any of these people say anything about those people that followed the law that got killed by illegal immigrants. Now, it is bad. It is sad that the two that got killed. But you know what? They put themselves in a position. They put themselves in a position that they're impeding investigations and all that stuff. So, you know what?
It is his time.
Maybe you should start worrying about the U.S. citizens first. You know what? That's what it should be. And I'm sorry that they're...
Enough. We will ask you to leave if you keep yelling during someone else's time.
So I support the police. I support ICE. I support taking these criminals out of this country, back to their country of origination, and making the United States safer. And I'm sorry that people want to protect criminals. Criminals. They are criminals when they first cross the line. Then they're secondary criminals when they commit crimes of rape and murder and all the other things that they have done. There's just 6 or 7 of them that I just mentioned that got killed by illegal immigrants. And here you guys are fighting that? I don't understand that. That blows my mind. Really doesn't. But you know what? That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enough. Enough. Excuse me. Excuse me. Everyone is entitled to their 3 minutes. You do not have to agree with them, but we do not need you yelling out like this. Okay? Go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Name and address, please.
Greg Ralco, Golf Ridge Villa. You're going to be happy to hear about sheets rather than ice, but we're going to do it anyway. The homeowners in Golf Ridge Villa, Willow Woods, and Deer Creek sent a letter to the mayor in early December, 19-page letter, asking her to stop everything at that corner of 8 Mile and Newburgh because there is an action filed by the citizens in Wayne County Circuit Court that has not been heard nor ruled upon. And it's in the best interest of everybody, including the residents who are paying for litigation, as well as the city itself, to protect itself and protect all parties. It's in the best interest of all parties. We have not heard back from the mayor, okay? And that's upsetting, and she's accountable to the taxpayers. And I would think our legal department also would stand by what it was that we're saying as well, to protect all interest until this thing is resolved downtown. Okay. One thing that dawned on me after 18 months of sitting and listening to prior council, not yours, prior council, was that there was 2 things that all of our neighbors kind of concluded. They said there's 2 things that don't happen in city council. Number 1, they never correct their mistake. Number 1, they never admit fault. Okay? I put these boards up here. These boards have been brought to city council member meetings before. The first one is an ordinance that says you can't build a gas station within 100 feet of a park. That's very clear. It's black and white. When we brought this up, now one council member said, you know what, I agree with that. How did this get as far as it got? It's unbelievable. That's black and white. The next one right there, the board says you can't put a restaurant drive-through in a C1 zone. Okay? That's a black and white issue. I didn't make this up. These are the ordinances. Your job is to enforce the ordinances. Once again, nobody on this council says, you know what, this is actually right. The citizens have actually made a good point here, a black and white issue. And we still allow this thing to proceed. And then you look at the last one, the Zoning Board of Appeals. 4 conditions before they said they had the power to grant a use variance. We already talked about the ordinances, the master plan. They didn't meet the master plan. The master plan says that corner is designated future land use, read the master plan, for a park. Okay? Also, it says you address the concerns of the citizens. We have 400 homes in those 3 subdivisions I mentioned. 95% of them came to these meetings and said, no, we're against this. And then the last thing was financial burden. You had to meet all 4. He met 0, and yet this body would never say, we made a mistake.
That's time. Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Laura Shoemaker, Gulf Ridge. I'd like to share with new council members what transpired on the sheet site plan voted on October 20th. 6 members were present. Martha was absent. The first motion to approve the site plan was deadlocked at 3, and therefore it didn't pass. There was a second outstanding motion to deny the site plan that still needed to be voted on. This should have also been a deadlock. Prior to the second vote, though, there was a 10-minute pause, during which time members posed many questions to legal counsel. There were some clarifications on subsequent motions and implications of those. It was during this pause, though, that several of us noticed that Linda Scheel was texting back and forth on her phone. We'd like to know who was coaching her during this critical vote. Remember, Linda had voted to approve the site plan in the first vote. Now, when it came time for the second vote, Linda explained she intended to vote the opposite way she voted on the first vote and was going to vote yes to deny the site plan so she could be with the majority. She confirmed during the meeting with Carter that she was voting this way so the vote would be 4-2 to deny the site plan. If there was a majority, not a deadlock, vote to 3, then she could then make a motion in a subsequent council meeting to rescind this vote. Let me restate this so it's clear. She voted to approve this site plan, which failed. Then when the denying motion was voted on, she changed her vote so she could do just that, with ill intentions and bad faith. I call it a game of dirty pool. Please consider your actions as a council member, as your integrity is an important aspect of your role. Here's how the rest of the story played out. November 5th, just seconds before the meeting was set to conclude, Linda proposed a motion to rescind in a nearly empty room of residence. How convenient and cunning. Not on the agenda, and waited for Martha to arrive, in which she cast the deciding vote to approve the site plan. Linda made a mockery of the vote and the city council in the process. So why am I bringing this up? Multiple residents submitted a FOIA request concerning Linda's phone activity during this meeting. Legal counsel has told us that her actions were in a violation of the Open Meetings Act and that the residents and city officials needed to know who was coaching her in her decisions to vote as she did. Carter replied to us that she was using her personal cell phone and the city could not provide this information. However, page 10 of the Open Meetings Act clearly states email, texting, or other forms of electronic communication is a violation of the Open Meetings Act. This is black and white. Even Carter can't dispute this. We want everyone to know that we will not let this issue rest. We have filed a formal complaint with the Michigan Attorney General's office. Kaylee, we're happy that you now prohibit personal cell phones during council meetings. I just wanted to let everyone know the reason behind this decision, unfortunately, a few months too late for this rule. This council can right the ship and work to regain the trust that has been lost in this local government. We've done the homework for you. Now you do your job.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Peter Dale, 9812 Cranston, Rosedale Gardens. I didn't intend to speak here today, but after Mr. Pastor spoke, I have to speak. My parents grew up in Europe. I was born a month after my parents got here. They went through communism and escaped Russia. They were in Greece when they was occupied by Germany, and they escaped from there as well. All of those regimes were, quote unquote, legal. They had laws. What was happening to them was, by their definition, legal, and they were following laws, but they were oppressing people regardless. That's just the fact of it. Any government that tells you you have to obey them all the time unquestioningly is immoral, and it is wrong. It is our right as human beings and as citizens of this country to protect everybody in a moral fashion. You cannot sweep up a whole category of people because a few are bad. There's a reason he's not in the House of Representatives now. He does not reflect our values here. And just remember that. Reflect our values. Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Denise Micah. Oh, I don't, usually you acknowledge, okay. Denise Micah, Livonia. The last meeting we were at, there was a request to find out what was really approved on the Sheets site plan, because at some point it was, yes, it's going to have this, no, it's not going to have that, and then everything, it was just so rushed, so we have no idea, and since it hasn't been brought forth, I would think people still don't know what was voted on. That was on the former council. So in the spirit of transparency, I would like to see it being posted on the city council site so everybody could see what it is, because at some point, no music, and then now I hear there's music, no pun intended on that. But, we've been to Sheets and in other cities, and of course, they don't fit I'm totally against it for all the reasons that Greg stated. And it's just a hodgepodge, last minute, ill-fated, underhanded, and it was a sad day to be on the last council meeting, and that if there's a thing that comes up with an item that comes up that's a question of law, I would hope that sometime we would put it to the side and then look at it at the next meeting instead of just trying to resolve everything there when things really, really, really have to be evaluated and researched. Because I feel like everything was rushed, and I'm really happy to hear that people are, we've brought about the Open Meetings Act several times, and thank you to the citizens that are filing complaints on that, because I think it's about time that we do that, because I brought it up 2 times on the letter of all 4 council members on that, requesting it go on the agenda, and it really doesn't look that way. Yes, it does. So a lot of things are the appearance, and hopefully this new council, and we'll turn a new leaf here with transparency and accountability, and that's what we're all about. Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Marisa Thomas. I'm a new resident to Livonia in the Rosedale Garden neighborhood. I wasn't going to speak, so I'll keep this brief because a lot of my sentiments are with my fellow residents regarding the issue with our police department cooperating with Border Patrol. But like I said, I'm a new resident. I'm Gen Z. My husband, tried really hard to buy our first home, and we're really proud to buy it at the end of 2024 and move into Livonia and start a family. And I was excited to participate in my first, voting for my city council, some of you that are sitting here. So when I saw the news about the lack of transparency when our federal and state representatives are reaching out to our mayor, I was very disheartened. I want to start a family here. I want to feel safe here. I want to know that, my leadership that's sitting, at this table is being proactive and making families like mine feel safe. The future of Livonia isn't these outdated policies that make people unsure every time they pass a police car or every time they want to go visit their family member in Canada, and when they're questioned when they come over the border. I want to feel safe. So I just ask that you guys take a proactive response to everyone's concerns here. I want to stay in Livonia. I want to raise my family here, but I also want to feel safe here. Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Jordan Foster, 31817 Norfolk. I also didn't plan to speak here tonight. I came to, this is the first time I've ever been to a meeting. I am an immigrant. I came here from Canada. I've been here 15 years. I've never felt unsafe in Livonia, but look at me. Of course I don't. My neighbor doesn't look like me and is a family of immigrants. He had his mailbox blown up with the firework one night. He was also harassed by the city about his work van being in his driveway because it has his business logo on it. But they don't talk to my white neighbors about that. You want to talk about keeping people safe in this country? Statistically, all of you that are born here are more likely to commit a crime than me or any of my immigrant friends. So if we're talking about keeping people safe, let's talk about keeping people safe and going after criminals. They're not going after criminals now. They're killing people like me who try to defend a woman in the street. That's not right. Livonia obviously has a racist problem in the past, and apparently it still continues. Racism has no place in this city, in this country. If we're not going to be the land of the free, we better damn find a reason to be the home of the brave. And we are looking to our leaders like you to be those brave to lead us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Name and address for the record, please. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Michelle Mancini, Merriman Road. So I just wanted to state on this police cooperation issue. So I don't think anybody in here, regardless of what side they're on, likes what's going on in Minnesota or, in any of these cities. And I believe in our police department. I think they're a good police department. They're accredited. They're good people. And I'm not talking about racial profiling, but if someone gets pulled over and there's a warrant or there's a deportation order, I don't think it's right for this council or the mayor to tell the police that they should not cooperate with another agency in those instances. I'm definitely not saying that they should call immigration on anybody that looks like, they weren't born here without just cause. But you could be putting our police officers and their careers in danger, as well as our city council or our city in lawsuits if we don't follow warrants and honoring and working with other agencies. If you get pulled over and you got a warrant in Canton, they're going to call Canton and say, are you going to come and get them? Yes or no. If that city doesn't want to come get them, then they let them go. If not, they keep them. It's cooperation with other agencies. It'd be no different than, if there's a warrant through the FBI. Do you want our police to say, sorry, you're a federal agency, we're not going to give you to them? I mean, we have to, I understand everybody wants to feel like we don't want ICE here and we don't want this here. The way government works, it's local, it's county, it's state, and it's federal. You cannot tell the federal government that they can't come in. You just can't. You cannot.
It's her time. It's her time. If you want to speak, you can get in line. It is her time.
So I just hope that if you do change this ordinance that's from like 1989 or something, that never was a problem before, but all of a sudden is, I hope that you keep in mind that the police officers have an oath, and you shouldn't put them in a position to do anything to break their oath.
Thank you. Anything else from audience? Anything from council? Ms. Wazinski?
Thank you, Council President. Obviously, it's been a long night, and it's been a hard, emotional night. These types of meetings are always challenging, and I just want to commend everyone who came out and came to speak. I know it's not easy, and oh shoot, time's up. All right. I will then amend. I will be even shorter, and it was going from the end of the other time, so it wasn't a full 3 minutes. But for the folks who are coming out here for their first meeting, it's a good thing. It's a brave thing to do, and thank you for being here. I don't have any answers for folks tonight, but I can tell you that this is something that, I've been working on. I've been talking with the administration since, Friday evening about this. It's on all of our radars. We do care. We do hear what you were saying. These are unprecedented times. The policies that we're following have been in place for a long time, and they've been in place over multiple administrations of different backgrounds, including the first administration of this current presidency. But these weren't the issues we were dealing with. These are new issues, and so we have to look at them in a new light, and the Livonia Police Department is doing that. We have to give them time to do that, and so again, I don't have answers for you tonight, but I have been listening. I hear you. I will also note that our Government Affairs Director is here as well. So for everyone who's had issues related to other issues, our Erica Smith does take notes, and then she sends council an email of follow-up based on things that people have said. So we do get responses, and on the sheet thing specifically on what the final language was, we did get that in one of our responses as well, and I believe it is in Civic Clerk, but I can, again, follow up there. So I just wanted to say thank you for being here tonight. You have been heard. We will get responses to specific issues that have been mentioned, and overall, we are working on evaluating our policies. Thank you.
Anything else from council? Ms. McDonald?
Thank you. Two things. If anyone is interested in the information in reference to the pricing on the sidewalk contracts for the last 5 years, I do have that information if anyone's interested in looking at it. And secondly, I am requesting that council go take to committee of the whole a review of our bid and contract proposal practices for everything that's over $30,000.
Support.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm so used to it.
So anyway, it's something that I know so well because, and I know sometimes it's hard for me to express to everyone else, because I know the job, I know the process, I know what has to be done in a municipal government setting. It's black and white. There isn't any gray areas. You need to be open and transparent, and you need to take these items to give an open bid process to ensure that contracts and proposals are reviewed at least every couple years and not an ongoing rolling event. And it's unfortunate. I know it's easy, it's comfortable because you like the contractors. I get it, I understand. It's like hiring somebody from your home and you don't want to waver from that. But I think it's something that we need to evaluate and to look at and to ensure that we are doing the best for the citizens of the city of Livonia and to ensure that we have the money that we need to keep everything going and running smoothly.
Anything else from council on that motion? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember McDonald?
Yes.
Councilmember Persicone?
No.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
Vice President Brockway?
Aye.
President Reed?
Aye, and that passes 5-1. Anything else, Ms. McDonald?
Nope.
Okay, anything else from council tonight?
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Oh, did you?
I just, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I just also wanted to echo Councilwoman Budzinski's sentiments. I thank you all for coming tonight. We're listening. We are in communication with the administration. I'm very pleased to hear that the administration is reviewing the policy at this time, and I look forward to hearing from the administration. We are all neighbors. We were neighbors yesterday, we're neighbors today, and we're going to be neighbors tomorrow. Let's remember that when we're here in these meetings, it is very important to allow everybody an opportunity to speak. Everyone's voice is important, and everyone does mean everyone. And I know this is an emotional topic, but it's really important that we continue to have the decorum that we, as Livonia, that we deserve, that we are. Livonia is above this. We're gonna continue to rise above anything that's going on outside of our city. So thank you all for coming. If you emailed me, I promise I'm going to email you back. I did receive a lot of emails, very respectful and thoughtful emails. So thank you if you emailed me and I didn't respond yet. I will. But I am really just gathering. There's a lot of information we're going through. We're getting a lot of information thrown at us. There's a lot of policies. And we're council. We do have a distinct role. We're not the administration. So we're all learning as to what our roles are and what we can be doing in this situation. So thank you all for coming, and we appreciate you.
Anything else from council?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Budzinski, support by McCullough. We will be back at 9:20 for the study.